All right. Well, thanks for joining us for today's episode of IFA Insights, where we sit down with experienced industry professionals to talk about topics that advisors thinking about going independent should know. Today, we've got Tamra Gaines. She is ARC's Director of Marketing, here to talk to us about marketing.
Yes.
So thank you for joining. Will you first tell us a little bit about yourself and your role here with ARC?
Sure. So I oversee all marketing initiatives for ARC, marketing strategy, how we go to market. I oversee our social media, our website, our branding, everything, you name it. And then I oversee our advisors marketing. Thankfully, we now have a team that helps us, but anything that our advisors would need marketing-wise, make sure that they have everything that they need.
Yeah, so obviously marketing is a big buzzword within the industry. So we know one of two things. Advisors either fully embrace marketing or they're staying away from it. One of the reasons they stay away from it is either they've been burnt by it in the past, they spent a lot of money and didn't see any results, or they just don't know where to get started. Can you shed a little bit of light about where advisors are being successful in the market right now?
Sure. What I'm seeing success in is authenticity. Advisors that really, and it doesn't have to be a big investment. It can be just using your voice. Advisors have a great voice. They have great knowledge. Just putting that out there and being authentic, that's what grabs your audience's attention, as opposed to, paying those big dollars to have a marketing firm, put your marketing out there for you. They're also putting that same marketing stuff out to other advisors, and it just creates a lot of noise. So if you can be authentic, you're going to stick out, and you're going to resonate with your audience.
I also think we've seen a lot lately too, where the market, and when I say market, I'm talking about potential clients or prospects, they're more interested in finding something that gives them value rather than something shiny. So perhaps are we seeing more in the educational space versus here's a big billboard or here's my face on a bus kind of thing? Is there a trend one way or another that's been more successful lately?
I think it's 90% value, maybe 10%, the billboard analogy that you used, thought leadership, providing that education to your prospects, your clientele, giving them something that they don't know, giving them something that they want to come back to and learn more about, so that they feel that they're being educated, they're getting that value. And then, where that billboard comes in is making sure that when they do meet you, that your face is there, and so they know to call you when, they're in need for financial guidance.
So it's kind of a 1-2 punch.
Right.
It's not just give them the content, but you also have to be in front of them.
Exactly. Absolutely. There's a little bit of an art to it.
So tell me about one of the biggest mistakes you tend to see with marketing and advisors.
Just one?
Well,
I think the biggest mistake that I see goes back to that on the authenticity piece. Advisors that don't want to put anything into their marketing, that they just farm it out to someone else. They're not putting their spin on it. What that leads to is the same marketing that other advisors are doing. You're not standing out. The digital space is so saturated that people they're so tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. They just glaze over. But if you have, and all advisors do, they have, what's the word I'm looking for, special knowledge, that expertise that is worth hearing, worth seeing, worth knowing. If they can just put that out there, that's all they need to do, Another thing I see is advisors expecting immediate results. That's not marketing. That's sales.
It's a long game.
It's a long game. It's an investment. You got to build a brand. You have to, you have to play the long game. I mean, just like in financial services, it's the long game.
Absolutely. So are there any specific trends that you've seen lately within marketing that have gained some traction?
Wildly, going back to print marketing.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, because the digital space is so saturated, advisors are seeing success in going back to traditional marketing.
Who doesn't love a real piece of mail?
Exactly. It's personable and it sticks out. So I see more of that.
Very interesting. So let's say an advisor has decided, you know what, I'm going to commit some dollars to marketing this year. If they have a limited budget, where would you tell somebody to focus on?
I would say invest in a content marketer.
Sure.
Someone that can work with you to develop customized content. If they can edit your assets even better, I think that's where you're going to get the biggest return.
I actually have a question for you.
Oh, yeah. So, in working with advisors, I hear a lot about compliance. I'd love to do marketing, but, I can't get it through compliance. Since you are the chief officer of compliance, do you have any tips or guides or even like a template or something like that you could offer that you could give advisors that would more or less help them get things through compliance?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're at the right firm, they should know that your marketing is important, because if you grow, the firm grows, right? So there should be a priority to getting your marketing approved. I think one way you can make that easier is understanding what words you can't say. So obviously we're bound by the SEC guidelines around marketing, promissory language, anything that could be misinterpreted that way. So we actually have an internal document about some words to avoid that we share with our advisors. So we can link that in the show's episode comments,
yes,
so that they can use that. I will disclaimer that it's not going to be an all-inclusive list, and you're always going to be bound to what your particular compliance department deems appropriate. But if you're doing the same type of marketing, there should be some ability to give you what you need as you're making those. So, for example, in our network, we've got several advisors that have podcasts. And so, generally speaking, that podcast disclosure is pretty generic. We know what that needs to be. Now, there's always going to be a little extra juice required if you're going to talk very specifically about indexes or particular investments. But that should also be something you could proactively reach out to your compliance department and say, hey, I want to do an episode on what it means to invest in index ETFs. And we can talk a little bit about what that script's going to look like and give you those disclosures ahead of time, so that when you put that together, you're ready to go and get that content out when it's still relevant. Because that's very important too, right? Like if you're going to talk about a new tax law that just gets released, you want to be able to get that content out quickly, so it's still at the forefront of your client's mind, not 3 weeks later when they've forgotten about it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely.
I think that was valuable. And if you found value in today's content, please make sure to subscribe to our channel so you can see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for joining us today.